We all aspire to be better people, better persons. Yes, dear. I believe that inspiration first plus motivation equals aspiration. Because we have to have the right thoughts. We have to have the right internal mechanism put together so that we can move physically to accomplish that goal. We aspire to a lot of things.
Right.
We should aspire to be better people. We too should aspire to be better mates, better husbands, better wives. And that too depends on how we have built our value system. And we're talking a lot, so y'all gonna have to excuse this.
2 hours? Yeah. Libation is a necessity.
Let's move to the definition of wisdom just for a moment so people will understand the reason that we here at Mastermind Wisdom University push wisdom. It is actually the definition, the ability to discern inequalities in relationships. It is an insight, not only to other people, but basically for oneself. It is good sense. It is good judgment. Now, I know people talk about we should not judge people, but we judge every day. What we should not do is condemn people. But without judgment, you cannot make good decisions. You cannot follow through on the things that you set, the goals that you set for yourself to be good or bad. We do judge. Judging is not bad. Condemnation is bad. We get those two conflicted and mixed up because we will say to people, don't judge me. Actually, how can they make a informed decision without judging?
Right.
It's the condemning part that causes the most damage for us.
Right.
Okay? Accumulated physiological or scientific learning, this is wisdom. It's called knowledge. A wise attitude, belief, or course of action, that's wisdom. The teaching of an ancient wise man or woman. When it uses the word ancient here, we go back to, we're not so ancient that we have heeded the correct words of our father, grandfather, grandmother, aunt or uncle, those persons that were striving to put something positive into our lives. That's when I say ancient. Now, I use a lot of, we used the book Think and Grow Rich as for Think and Grow Wisdom. It's an older book, and some folks might even say it's ancient, but there's some wise stuff in that book.
The concept is the same.
The concept is the same, and we got and gather wisdom from people that choose to write things down. If we choose to write things down and go back sometime later and look at what we've written, we too can consider ourselves either wise or extremely stupid.
Well, hopefully your judgment, you can get better judgment on that one and get some wise decision. Chris, I like what it says again in Scripture. I read Proverbs, this is one of my study verses every morning, Proverbs 4:5-6. And it is directly in the part of the knowledge aspect. It says, and I love this, it says, get, which get is a forward action thinking. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Get wisdom, but also get understanding, which is knowledge, which are the two primary aspects of our focus, should be in our focus on every day. which then brings better judgment in life. So it works conclusively with the action of getting, so you have to seek it.
You have to
It's
seek
not
it.
necessarily just gonna be given to you.
And Solomon uses the word, when he uses a lot of phrases of her, she, because we see our mothers or young ladies as the tender side of us.
Sure.
And the understanding of good wisdom is to test and build the tender side of us. Because with good wisdom, good knowledge, then she is like our mother. She is like a grandmother that will pat us on the back and say, "It's okay, baby." Whereas your mama might say, "You better get going." But grandma would always be a comfort to us.
Correct.
Okay. Well, we want to delve into values and value systems now. It's 6:30, so for the next 20 minutes, we're going to talk about values and value systems. My definition says it is a hierarchy of values that all moral agents, moral people, possess, demonstrated by their choices. It is a hierarchy, which means you build on these values. You put these together, making them bigger and better. You are the moral agent. You are the person that possesses these things. You are the person that build these and demonstrate these based on your choices. I talk about choice all the time. Choose. Choose to think, choose to behave, choose to make your life better. Those are choices. Most people's value systems differ, making it impossible for a single value system by the state, that means that present person is in, making it a source of constant social welfare. What's meant by that statement is we all have different values.
Correct.
And forgive me, but I want to use the situation we talked about earlier with relationship. Your social value, your values was at warfare with the other individual. If I use my first wife and her values based on my values, we were in conflict, extreme conflict. Therefore, we didn't stay married very long. The second time around, I chose a different set of standards. They were not perfect, but they allowed me to not make the same mistake that I had made in the first one. And that mistake sometimes is when you see things being done wrong and you choose to go along with it. When you compromise your value system, because I compromised my value system even before I got married, because I could see that my first wife and I were not on the same page. We were not going in the same direction. We did not have the same value system. We did not hold the same things in reserve as we should have been on the same line of thinking. While I drink some water, go ahead.
Yeah. We pick up where you left off. Most people value system differ, making the imposition of a singular value system by the state a source of constant social warfare. This is the individualistic concept. One value system is modeled by one's virtue or voice. I use the word value also in the same similar word as character. Things that you have in, and it was always said, what is your character, what is your value? It's the thing that you do, say, and believe behind closed doors when nobody's looking. It's what's truly inside of you and what you bring out when nobody's looking. Decisions you make, the things you do, your value system is based on whether somebody's looking or not.
Right.
Decisions that you make. And those are very important aspects of your life because, behind closed doors, who are we really?
Yeah.
And you have to give that some consideration.
That's when we take off our angel suit and put on our devil suit.
Well, that depends on your value. Some people put the angel suit off and put on another angel suit, but it just depends on your values.
Read the second one for us.
Okay, it's a value system now. I see he said a couple of things.
He
Mr.
said
Derrick.
he loves this topic and he thanks us for feeding his higher knowledge and understanding. So thank you, Derrick. We're just glad to do so.
Okay. It's a number 2 value system. Now, a person's standards and self-discipline set based on the common sense and wisdom of knowing what the proper moral rules and disciplines are, and the amount of willingness to see themselves and others abide by them. And I think that's what you spoke of a little bit earlier.
Absolutely.
Self-discipline.
Yeah.
What's going on, the wisdom of knowing. You talked about when you read, what was that you read?
Proverbs 4:5-6. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not. Neither decline from the words of thy mouth, forsake her not. She shall love thee. And wisdom and knowledge is so important. And in this value, what you just read is equally as important because you have to have that, and your character and your values, to me, are like a compass. You ever go into, if I was in a Boy Scout, like you, I was a Boy Scout and Eagle Scout and all that. And the one thing we recognize is this: if we drop us off in the middle of the woods, you can end up anywhere if you don't know where you're going or what the direction is. You need a compass to go by. And the human psyche is no different. Your values is based on a compass. And the compass, for me, is the Word of God. What are my directions? What are my decisions? What are my values? What are my character is about? Those are all about a compass that I have to have to know where direction I'm going. And mine has been biblically based, Christ-centered and prayer-minded on a regular daily basis.
So are your values different now compared to what they were when you were young?
Absolutely, because anything is like a compass. If I just put a person in the middle of the woods and say, "Here's a compass, go at it," if they've never been taught how to read a compass, they still going around in circles. You have to have knowledge of growth. This is a compass. It points north, east, south, and west.
And so you
what
say,
direction you want to go in.
that's good.
And based on that direction, now I got something to base my direction off of. So if I want to get out of these woods, I want to go north. I have to look at the compass and keep it pointed north. When I want to keep my mind and my peace and my joy and my happiness, I have to search Scripture.
That's good.
And
that's
Scripture
good
keeps
thing.
me focused in the right direction because my compass in my own mind could be turned any direction. I think I'm going. It says it's right in a man's mind, but what is up to God is correct. We think things my own. I'm my own self-made man.
Right.
That's a compass that's maybe going south and you want to go north.
So we get the inspiration, wisdom, and everything from the Bible, from God, to teach us our value system.
It is a value system. It is a compass. It's a road map. It's a book of knowledge. I call it all of these things when I'm teaching Sunday school or another class, and I refer to the Bible not just as a Bible, but it's a book of rules. It's a book of morals. It's a compass. It's a story. Many of the stories in there have moral content. What is the moral of the story? And it all points back to one place. which is making God first. You make him the center, you can go any place.
That's true.
What we don't have is we don't use common sense. Because you don't have to be in the Bible to use common sense. There are a lot of people who know right from wrong, but choose wrong. Common sense. I believe, because I'm told by a person very close to me, I actually married her, she says, common
Wise
sense.
man.
Common sense ain't common.
It surely
I
is not.
believe that common sense is not common because in my practice, I see so many people choosing to use bad thinking, stinking thinking, making mistakes with common thought, common rules that just says, it's just something that you should not do.
Right.
But we're so damaged, we're so broken, our belief system is so corrupted that we can only fall back on what we believe to be common. We believe that to be the natural way we should do that. And a lot of times we teach ourselves how to curse. We teach ourselves how to do some kind of bad things. And if you remember when we were teaching ourselves to curse, the more we practice cursing, the better we got at it. We could give volume, we could give expression, we could give really fire and flame to the words that we would use in our curse words, because we practice. But it takes just as much practice to get out of that habit.
Absolutely.
You were saying?
No, I was just saying you get so good at it, you can do it in Spanish.
A lot of times folks will think it's Spanish.
Yeah, right.
The term value has two related, distinct meanings. The one value is of an object or an activity is what we object or an activity worth to a person or to that community. What they just said is that one meaning is what it means to us, what we give worth to it, how much value we give to it, to ourselves and to the community around us. Psychologically, meaning, by contrast, a value is an abstract, deservable end. It is a state that a person finds themselves in. It strives for or aims to uphold such things as freedom, loyalty, tradition. Those are all of the things that we commonly should have built in our value system. But we will add things as what we expect of people, what we are looking for in a mate. What we have not done an evaluation of what I bring to the relationship. Who am I in this relationship? What do I offer? What do I have to contribute? We're often looking at our value systems as somebody to come in and make us better. And that's the wrong thing to do. Many of us, unfortunately, will sometimes choose to marry a person like our mother or like our father, and if that father or mother did not set a good example, we will find someone exactly like that. We will mirror, and sometimes our mate mirrors us. If we are broken, we attract another broken person. If we are well, we attract another well person. If you are well enough to understand that you are broken and you are attempting to fix yourself, you can help another person become well. But if you're so broken, it's like having the flu. If your system is weak, you're going to give somebody else the flu.
Correct.
If you have a strong value system, you can help folks build their value system. Not change, their value system, but build their value system. And too often what we do when we are dating or engaged, we talk about everything but what our values are. We don't talk about our values of church. We don't talk about our values of money. We don't talk about our value of paying bills on time. We don't talk about our values of children. We don't talk about our values of responsibility. We don't talk about security. There are so many things that we assume, even when we see someone's bad values, we will assume that we can make them change. Go ahead.
So, Chris, let me ask you this. What I hear you say is when you, with people in their value system, which is a good question. I was blessed and fortunate when I got married, we went through counseling. So we were able to expose a lot of our values, and we found it was very similar. She had a background of parents growing up with her. I was the same thing. Our value system was very similar in that respect. So if two people was together and their value system are conversely different, based on what you just said, which value system influences which other the most?
Value systems can be different. They can be diametrically opposed to each other. What has to happen is compromise and acceptance of that other value system. Hopefully it's accepting of a good value system. If you're not told, if you don't discuss what your values are, and you find out later that that person likes to spend money, that person may like pornography, that person may like to drink, but hid that during the evaluation of each other's value systems, especially in the area of spending money and credit, especially in deciding which church we're going to go to, which religion are we going to follow, especially in the rearing of children. You know, am I going to be a hands-on dad or am I going to be a donor? These are things that we need to talk about. These are the building of a value system, because you can build your own value system. You have yours, he or she has hers or his, but you build a value system between us. These are the things that we are going to agree on and do together.
Excellent. Derek has some, he loves it. I'm looking at hearts on that thing. What does Derek have to say about this?
He said he loves this topic. He agreed with my wife that common sense ain't common. And he says, some cannot see beyond their experience and expectations. Growth is the willingness to question our past, leading to a stronger value system. Not only, Derek, do we have to question our past, but we have to choose the fact that we cannot change the past. Some of us tend to live so much in the past that we cannot take advantage of the present and prepare for tomorrow.
Right.
We cannot live today because we're so busy feeling and being hellish that we can't see that God called us to have heaven on earth while we're here. He said heaven on earth as it is in heaven. Because if you don't have peace and joy and understanding here on earth, you're in hell, here right on earth. If you're constantly bickering, if you're constantly indecisive, if you're constantly causing other people pain, the reason you're causing other people pain is because you are in pain.
Absolutely.
And
hurt people, hurt other people.
Hurting people hurt other people. So devising ways to talk about, getting help to talk about what my value system is, what my wisdom says, what are my motivations and inspirations to build a better value system so that I can pass that legacy on to other people.
Correct.
Because You talk about legacy a lot. You talk about folks leaving an inheritance.
And that could be spiritually, that could be value system. It doesn't have to be money. It
Get
can
great when it is, but yeah. Yeah, I understand. You're right.
But all too often, the legacy we leave is of brokenness. The legacy we leave is dysfunction. What's the word I'm looking for? That generational curses. We leave that legacy of generational curses. And sometimes unknowingly, but yet willingly.
But we can break those negative, bad legacies through education, through wisdom, through the changing of your mind, which is the changing of your behavior, which is the changing of your life, through this type of environment and understanding the difference between the two.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. We have to make it a conscious effort.
Effort, always.
Always a conscious effort to make change, to be better. And it's really not for us. It's for the people that we encounter. You know, people are constantly watching. If you claim that you are Christian and you curse the lady out at the checkout stand that's checking you out because she's a little slow, not going as fast as you want them to go, or the person that cuts you off in the middle of the street driving and you give them the international sign of hello,
Right.
then what example are you setting? What legacy are you setting? If you are a rager, if you are angry at the slightest little thing, you have to choose to find the reason, the cause. Why am I choosing to rage at that particular thing? Be angry at that particular word. Be sensitive to what people say when I'm responsible for my choices. I'm responsible for what I choose to think. I'm responsible for my own actions. I'm responsible. I'm responsible. Not making everybody else responsible for the way you're choosing to feel. Because feeling is a choice.
Absolutely.
And how we tend to give value to our emotions, good or bad, is a part of that legacy that we're talking about, that inheritance that we're passing on. It is a great part of our value system. And if you've had those things in your value system, you have to do an inventory. If I'm a rager, I get angry, I get depressed, I'm sick of folks saying or doing all the time. If I'm choosing to blame other people for stuff that affects me, or I think it affects me, I make it affect me, your value system is off. It needs correcting. It needs to be set on a different course. You need to have some self-discipline. You need to change your motivations. You need to change your inspiration. You have to make consistent and positive changes to your value system. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:53. We love y'all. We really do.
Time. Where does the time go?
Time goes. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell you that I am Chrysophilus Gustavus Jackson. I am a Mastermind Wisdom Coach. I want these young folks to introduce themselves because they too are wisdom coaches, but I want them to tell you who they are and what they do.
My name is Lisa Jenkins. I am a mastermind student. And
She went back. She gave back to diploma. All right. I thought she was
going back to school.
yeah, I'm always learning. I have to continuously learn. So I'm a mastermind wisdom student and coach. What I do is I've had 20 years plus experience in the insurance industry. And yes, I do say, why not leave a legacy for your children's children? That's what we do here. We help people understand now, understand their past, live in the present, and move to the future. So thank you everybody for watching.
And good evening again, and my name is Larry Richardson. I always want to end up my day with what I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I do, I learn. But what I teach at Mastermind Wisdom Teach Program, I master. Mastermind Wisdom University. Back to you, Chris.
We love you guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday with a different topic. I'll try to get that topic out to you early. And Derek says we must develop an active understanding of our fallibility in order to stop projecting our dissatisfaction and negative emotions and not be overwhelmed with self-blame. And we must stop using criticism and accusations in the form of blame, attacks against others when their behavior reflects their personal limitations. Thank you. Derek says, thanks for your kind voice. Thank you for showing us some love. Oh,
Amen.
He directed that to you, Lisa. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Good night,
Thank you.
y'all.
Good night.
Bye.